In Iran, despite overwhelming evidence to the contrary, authorities have insisted that all is calm, that the protests, which followed disputed elections more than a month ago, have passed. Well, they can't make that claim anymore, not after tens of thousands of protesters staged a massive show of dissent and clashed with police today. It all happened as the top cleric defied the supreme leadership and in a sermon declared that Iran is indeed in crisis. The CBC's Nala Ayad has that story.
Opposition supporters have waited weeks for this, for their strongest supporter in the establishment to break his silence. Akbar Hashemi Rafsanjani is a former president, now the government's highest-ranking critic. At Friday prayers, Rafsanjani came down hard on the ruling clerics, their refusal to revisit an election many Iranians say was flawed. He chastised the government for its heavy hand against critics, called for the release of the hundreds arrested since the election. The situation today is bitter, he says. I don't think anyone from any faction liked this, and now all of us have lost. We are all the losers, he says. It's the first time such a high-ranking cleric has called the vote into question since it was held last month. A vote that current President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad says he won, and that his opponents say was rigged in his favor. That unleashed the largest show of public dissent since the Islamic Revolution. Despite that, the Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei refused to hold new elections, and authorities moved in to shut down the revolt. Yet today's prayers gave way to new, huge protests, larger than any since the crackdown all but ended them last month. Iran has kept most foreign media away from such demonstrations, but state television showed protesters clashing with police, who used tear gas and batons to try to disperse the crowds. Demonstrators lit fires and hit back with stones and more slogans. They believe this man, reform-minded Mir Hossein Mousavi, should have won the election. His appearance at the prayers today, the first in public for weeks. That, along with public backing from a powerful cleric, seems to have breathed new life into the protests. Their resurgence under the watchful eye of authorities, a sure sign the movement is far from dead. Nala Ayad, CBC News, Beirut.